and welcome to the Common Briefing Program. So brief that it didn't happen on time. I just moved, and my name is Colin. We're here to recap geek news for the month of October, because as part of the Common Geeking Program podcast, we like to do that. Look at the most interesting, important headlines and try to figure out what is worth your attention and share some of our thoughts along the way. So I am joined, as usual, by two of my good friends. Would you guys like to use your voices now?
I would not, no.
No. Oh, well, rough medium for you to have that opinion. I'm so sorry that I had to tell you this way.
That's going to be my stance for the upcoming, in a few months, the new year. No audio on podcasts anymore in 2022. That's the Jeff Leavitt guarantee.
It is innovation, but it is also Jeff, because he has neglected
Leavitt psychically implanting the podcast into your head without all that need for airwaves and shit.
Yeah, we are exclusively going to co-opt the sign language and voice superpowers from Dune. So that's fun. And who else is talking?
Hi, I'm Timel, or Chowder, whichever you prefer. I'm currently sifting through all my posts from October.
I usually like to start with a bit of a vibe check, but I think I need to do a bit of a vent check here because, guys, as I said, I just moved, and I'm usually the kind of person, I don't mind moving. I know it's hard work. I know it's time consuming, but it's usually fine. It's fine. And as long as you're prepared, it is fine. This time, even though we prepared, it did not feel fine. We are all moved in. I'm set up with my workstation. It's a nice place. I'm very happy with it. It does have multiple stories, so I'm hoping that will force my cats to lose weight. It was great because on day one, Odo was panting every time he climbed the staircase, and it was sad and funny. But he's getting better.
Boy.
Yeah, if you've never seen a cat pant like a dog, 100% recommend it. But
I hate to break it to you, Colin, but you've seen both my parents' house and both of my cats, right?
Yeah, that's very fair. Not exactly.
I mean, if we're venting, I would like to say today fucking sucked at work.
That's rough.
Like, all the customers were like stupid and slow and frustrating. And just
I hate that shit.
And it was just busy, and I didn't really get a break. The way it works at my job is you get paid for you get paid during your break, but if it gets super busy, you're expected to hop off and start helping out. And
sounds like a break.
Yeah, I mean,
that sounds illegal. This is what that sounds like.
No, I know exactly what he's talking about. It sucks.
It's normally fine because it's not or they're not keeping track of my break. It's not like I clock in and out, so I can just go back and finish my meal and just not count the time.
Yeah.
But here it's just people were being annoying and having to take people's lottery numbers is fucking painful, and this time they were particularly fucking assholes, and lottery people are usually just big assholes, so being more of an asshole was just terrible. Fuck the lottery.
I will hit you with this. Well, you had a bad experience with customers. I want to talk a bit about a bad experience as a customer, on top of a few other things that happened.
Eat my ass, customer!
That is quite the business proposition.
Down with the bourgeoisie.
Eat my ass, customer is the new rallying cry for the oppressed.
Go on though.
So planning to move. First of all, Spectrum internet provider. God, what a nightmare that was. But I want to complain about another company you might know as U-Haul. Our friends moved recently, and they were like, yeah, they screwed up our truck reservation, and then I got hit with a fine for not bringing it back on time. So, Rebecca screenshotted all the reservations she made. We had it booked for 2 days, 48 hours, and we showed up there in downtown city we live in, and we were like, hey, can we have a truck for 2 days? And they said, you can have a truck for 1 day. And we said, no, my screenshot says 2 days. And they said, oops. guess you got to drive to a city you don't live in to get a smaller truck for the same amount of money. So pissed off, we do that. Like, this already sucks. Like, it is a smaller truck, which, spoiler alert, really doubles the number of trips you have to take because you can't put all the stuff in the truck.
Yeah.
So that's already bad. We get to the second place and we go to try to fucking get the truck. And I sign the thing, I give him the card, and he turns around to get the keys and he stops and he looks at the keys. And I'm like, what's going on here? And the guy looks at his boss, he's like, hey guy, why is the keys right there? And I look closely at where the keys is. You know where the keys is? They're on a hook that says shop/repair.
Oh no.
And then they give us the keys.
Oh my God.
And I'm driving it. I'm like, this is a little rickety. This is not the best. And then when we start going down hills, it fucking downshifts into oblivion. And the brakes are, I guess, maybe legally responsive, but not good. Needless to say, did not pay for the full thing, and it got towed. So
Jesus.
That was fun.
That's miserable.
It was made worse by the fact that there was that, like, we were trying to drive literally just down the street, and then there was a detour, and I looked, this cop was blocking the road. There was no traffic. I think this was this cop's last day, and he was just really trying to flex or something, because he stopped like a main street for like 5 blocks and nothing was happening. I don't know what the fuck his deal was.
Yeah,
and then we had to take the truck.
Cop.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Rebecca speculated that because there's a bank there was a robbery going on, but I don't know, man. Anyway, the move was very stressful, and as a result, I have not paid very close attention to news for the past month, also because I had some other editing projects come up, and it's just... I'm really honestly kind of excited to be talking with you guys, late as it may be, and really get a vibe for what happened in October, because I am not the vessel this podcast deserves, not this month. But let's turn that around, and let's see if we can hit a vibe check at the end, and maybe Chowder and I can lift our spirits out of the terrible customer service experience dumps.
From either side.
From either side. I hope that on a bad day, I don't have to be the customer of Chowder, because we might annihilate, like matter and antimatter.
I mean, there's a difference between someone being upset because they were given a fucking, unsafe truck that was
giant metal death machine,
and someone just being a bitch about not fucking winning the lotto.
I don't know. Catch me on a bad streak of customer service experiences like this one, and Chatter might be the target of my ire. I don't know. It hasn't happened yet. And I might be the target of his. And God, I just, I think we can do better than that. So let's talk about some geek news. Typically I go first, so I guess I'll just hit the couple of things that I feel strongly about, and then I'll let you guys take the reins. I know you have a lot more to say than I do. So I'm going to touch on the 2 things I was most excited about because I want to talk about them, but I'm not going to go too in depth because I think we might be talking about them in future episodes. The first was the release of Metroid Dread.
Yeah, that game was that game slaps, man. It's very good.
It is very good. I do not want to divulge all my opinions on it because we are trying to see if we can get a conversation together around that game. But Metroid Dread is the 5th canonical side-scroller entry in the Metroid franchise that is not a remake of an earlier title. So you've got the original Metroid / its remake Zero Mission, Metroid 2 Return of Samus / its remake Samus Returns. You have Super Metroid for the SNES. You have Metroid Fusion for the Game Boy Advance, and that came out in 2002. Metroid Dread is the sequel to that game from 2002. Metroid Fusion, one of my favorite games of all time, and Dread is a very worthy sequel to that game in a lot of ways. It picks up on the scary parts very well. One of the big complaints about Metroid Fusion is the Metroidvania subgenre is very much defined by like a map that feels open to an extent, But as you level up your character, you unlock more parts of the map and can explore. And Metroid Fusion had this map design where you were sort of siloed into these different areas, so the exploration did not feel quite as natural.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Dread is if you pay attention to its level design and signposting, it does silo you. But,
it does.
But the thing is, in the moment, you don't notice it's doing it.
Correct.
Like, you're just like, this is my choice. When in reality, the developer was manipulating you all along.
And that's essentially the magic trick of Metroidvanias that I love, is they give you the sensation of like freedom and discovery that the best open world games give you, but with the benefit of a tightly designed path. Metroid games, the ones I tend to enjoy the most, like in Zero Mission, the remake of the original, is the ability to break off that path once you understand how the game works. It's called sequence breaking. I haven't played enough of Dread. I'm most of the way through my second playthrough to discover how flexible it is, but I'm gonna guess it's not as flexible as some other titles. And to Chowder's point, it does... Once you sort of peek behind the curtain, it does feel a little more tightly wound than some Metroid games. Unlike setting you into these clearly labeled zones 1 through 6, like in Metroid Fusion, it spreads what you're doing across multiple areas, so it feels like you're like, oh my god, where am I going? What am I doing? I'm all over the place. But you can sort of brush up against the walls of what the developers have laid out for you. So in a lot of ways, I think it's a resounding success, given Metroid's relative absence from the scene, while games like, Ori and Hollow Knight have really taken over the Metroidvania conversation. Guacamelee, like, this has learned from those in a way that sometimes I would expect a Nintendo franchise to be a little hubristic and say, no, we do it best. They have... adopted some cues from those games, not whole cloth, but you can tell that they've learned from watching the indies really embrace this subgenre.
Yeah, no, like I was kind of because like a lot of times when like the old guard like tries to reestablish itself, like say Ukulele, how Ukulele tried to be Banjo-Kazooie, or how Mighty Number 9 tried to be Mega Man, and they just kind of fell flat on their face. Like, whenever there's, like, a sort of comeback of a thing that hasn't been around for a while, it's always like, can you keep up with the new dogs, boy? And I think Dread does. Like, is it the best? I don't know if you can really answer that question. Is it one of the best? Does it manage to keep up with guys like Hollow Knight? Yeah.
No, I think it absolutely does. And it is not nearly as punishing as Hollow Knight, but like it adopts more of that flavor than older Metroids did. Overall, very impressed, very pleased with it, but I also have a lot more to say, and I hope we do get to have a longer conversation in the future.
Yeah.
Second thing I wanted to bring up, a little movie called Dune came out, and don't know if you guys have read the book Dune. It is a very complicated book. Not complicated as in like, you gotta be smart to understand these words, but more complicated like, these ideas do not seem filmable, as evidenced by Dune from 1984. It is a very difficult story to wrangle. I'm watching this play out with the Foundation series on Apple TV Plus, which I've read Foundation. I cannot render judgment on the show until it's done, but it's like the Foundation TV show is based on an Isaac Asimov novel that is not about characters, it is about ideas. So they have just like made up so much shit to fill in the gaps in that story. And it just feels different. And Dune is so big that you could see them either going in that direction, where they have to like make up all their own shit to make it make sense, or in like the Lord of the Rings direction, where they have to just say, ignore most of the world and just focus on this bit. And it manages to lean in that Lord of the Rings direction without going, I think, quite as far. It is a tremendously accurate adaptation. There's a lot of stuff that's left out, but unlike Lord of the Rings, there are very few like significant alterations from the book. And what's more important than that is it's good. It's a good movie. It is, I think the most jarring thing about it is a part 1. It's been announced that this is part 1 of 2. They had to split the book in half, and
Makes
boy
sense.
howdy,
Yeah, I mean,
did they split it in half? It ends like right smack dab in the middle of the book, and it feels like you stop the movie halfway through. That is very jarring. So if you're gonna see
from
Dune,
what I know about Dune, that the book is a goddamn door stopper. So
it's dense. I read it last year. Blew my mind immediately. I adore the book Dune a lot. I was so entranced by its ability to mete out information to like feed me stuff and build my understanding of a world while leaving so many questions. It's one of those things where it's like where Lord of the Rings is a fucking doorstop because it's the history, the lineages, and the geography is so clearly defined that it's like the story
also
maps
geology.
on top of that.
I feel like rocks come up a lot in Dune.
That's actually, there's a lot about rocks and metal, but like it's one of those things where like the world is built and then like Tolkien famously built the world, asked to publish the Silmarillion, and they said, no, this is boring, give us something else. And he just wrote Lord of the Rings on top of the foundation he built. And that makes it incredibly rich. Dune, I think, is often compared to it because it does the same thing with ecology and politics. And the book, even when it's not explaining all those things to it, you can tell that Frank Herbert, the author, like has a very clear understanding of what's going on, even if he's not telling you. And the movie captures that particular feeling. It has a lot less dialogue than I expected, but it captures so much of the conversation from the books. On my second viewing, I picked up on a lot more hints. It's like, I thought they left this out. No, this is in there. It's just sort of blink and you'll miss it. It's a long movie. It can feel like it has a slow start, but if you understand that it's half of a movie, I think that pacing concerns sort of fall to the wayside. So if you're thinking of checking Dune out, one, I recommend doing it on a movie theater screen if you can. It is gorgeous and breathtaking, and like the sequences are tit for tat from the book, the action sequences, and I was still like white knuckling my way through them. It is pretty visceral, but it is still good and fun to watch and intense and well performed, well cast. I love the score. Hans Zimmer, who has done so many Christopher Nolan movies, actually didn't do Tenet because he got the chance to do Dune, and it's fucking worth it, man. This soundtrack is fucking intense. It slaps real hard. It is creepy and ominous and big. I have a lot of love for this movie. But even at that point, I don't think I can pass too much judgment because it's still definitely half the movie. This isn't like where Fellowship of the Rings ends and you like, I got a nice cap to the beginning of the story and I'm excited to see what's next. The movie ends and you're like, oh, it's not done. Oh, okay. Oh, I get it. Yeah, no, it's not done. And it does say part 1 right on the label as soon as you start it, but highly recommend it. If you're willing to go in and know that you're getting the beginning of a story, I think you will have a good time. I think it's excellent. I'm very impressed. Lastly, what is it? Star Trek Prodigy dropped. This is the new animated fairing from Star Trek. It is a Nickelodeon kids show with an animation style similar to Star Wars The Bad Batch, which I have not seen. But I said this about the trailers looking pretty good. Y'all, it is definitely a kid show, not a little kid show. I think it's more in like that Teen Titans Avatar, The Last Airbender sort of realm, like the 10, 12-year-old kind of demo. I'm definitely not as sophisticated as those shows get towards the end, but it feels kind of like Avatar in the beginning where it's just kind of goofy, cartoony. But it's a lot more tonal, a lot more dramatic, and visually extremely impressive. The trailers did not lead me astray. I think this show is beautiful. I enjoy watching it just to watch it. I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of like goofy voice characters over explaining things every couple of minutes. It's a kid's show, but it's goofy
voiced characters over explaining everything. That just sounds like Star Trek.
Yeah, so it's a perfect fit.
Is it canon?
Yes, it is. Right now, everything the work of the Star Trek universe lately, I think, has been partly to recanonize all the stuff that people said was not canon, like the animated series. Or there was actually an episode of Voyager in the 90s.
Is the fucking animated series now canon too?
They have done it. There's an early episode of the animated series where they make a Spock clone called, get this, Spock 2, and he's enormous.
Clever.
And they leave him on Phylos, and he is referenced twice in Lower Decks, one time by name and the second time by his entire skeleton hanging from the ceiling. So it's pretty insane. So they've tried to canonize that, as well as an episode of Voyager that was so bad that the writers said it wasn't canon, and Lower Deck said, nah, it's canon. In case you don't know, there's an episode called Threshold where they break the warp barrier and it accelerates their evolution, and the captain and the pilot turn into newts and then have babies on a planet, and then the ship kidnaps the newts and turns them back into humans, and they never address the fact that they fucked and had newt babies, and they're still out there.
Hold on.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb.
Well, hold on a second. It accelerates their evolution.
Yeah.
So they
newts.
evolve into newts.
Yeah, it's bad.
Guys,
that's
incredibly stupid. I would have left that one out if I were.
Yeah, no, it's a very bad episode. It is notoriously the worst.
If they evolved into crabs, I would kind of get it, but newts are.
Well, that's a conversation for another time. Okay.
Look, evolutionary scientists have found that many species keep turning into crabs, and it seems to suggest that there is something advantageous to crab. So progress to
Only we
crab.
could be so ambitious to one day also become crab.
What the fuck is happening? Anyway, it's a very bad episode of Star Trek, and Lower Decks was they just explicitly said this happened.
Maybe newts are on the way to crabs, though. Have you considered that, Chowder?
Newts are halfway to crabs.
It goes person, newt, crab,
Person, newt, crab. Anyway, very bad episode of Star Trek. It's canon. So this kid show is also canon. Catherine Janeway appears in the show as a hologram, voiced by the original actress and everything. The show's cute so far. There are only 3 episodes out. But I'm enjoying it. I don't think all adults are going to like it just because it's a kid's show, but it's still, I think it's still pretty fun, pretty well written. It seems to have a strong concept. And again, it's just really, really pretty. If nothing else, watch the pilot episode. There's some stuff in there that's going to make you be like, what kind of budget does this show fucking have? It is, I was honestly surprised in a lot of good ways. But those are really the 3 big things that I was doing besides moving and editing projects. So please, my friends, fill my brain with more useful information.
I will do no such thing. Because I'm going to start off with some... all of my news this time around is either Transformers or Minecraft news.
Okay.
So already we're not going to be terribly useful information in your brain. But... to start off with Transformers, the story that I've been covering for a little while is the Victory Saber, what's the fucking thing called? HasLab, that's the one. The second crowdfunded Transformers project.
Yeah, I think you had some good news about this one.
Literally the day after we recorded the last episode, on September 29th, it was fully backed at 11,000 backers. On October 1st, the tier 3, so the 20,000 backer goal tier, was revealed to be a shield, like I speculated last time, but it also includes 2 additional, Micromaster Minicons little figures that come with it, that are just repaints of figures that we've gotten before, but they're referencing characters from the show that Victory Saber is from. Then on October 6th, we got to our 14,000 backer goal unlocked. The second tier was unlocked on October 8th. And the third tier, which I just talked about, was unlocked on October 10th, which is 10 hours before the end of the backer goal, how long you could actually back this thing. So when it ended, so this was at New York Comic Con, on October 10th, and it ended with 22,713 backers.
Wow.
And I think after that, they must have added, some countries' numbers to that, because currently it's sitting at 27,302 backers, which is obviously more people weren't backing it after the fact because the backer, timed out. It ended on the 10th. And that number fluctuates a little bit with people deciding that they don't want it anymore or whatever. But that's where it's sitting out right now, about 27,300, which is the number is notable to me because Unicron, the first HasLab project, the backer goal was like 8,000, and they didn't really tell us the final number because at a certain point in the backer progress bar after it was funded, it just started saying 8,000 plus. So it was a little bit unclear like how much it was actually backed by. And then someone like dug into the code of the website and found that it was, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was something like, 150% backed. So it was like, that would mean basically 12,000 backers. If the 100% was 8,000, then 150 would be 12,000. So a lot more units of this are being made than that. And part of the notable thing with that is like, I sort of feel like this could have just been a straight up retail product. Like when you're looking at 27,000, like that's comparable to the number of like units that are made for some of the, like slightly higher end stuff that's like just made and released in retail. So it kind of, again, like I've been talking about with this project in the past, like it brings me back to the price being like, even if we're being generous with like how these things are divvied up, it's still like at least double what it kind of ought to be. So, and, it's like, oh, well, it's a niche thing and, so only so many people are getting it. But nope, 27,300 people are getting it. So, it's interesting. Obviously, like when this thing actually comes out, I'll have more news on it. But other than that, that all happened like at the beginning, the first week and a half of October. So it's been a minute, and there hasn't really been any other news from it since then. But it has been backed. I have paid for it, and I will see it sometime next year.
Do you know like the sales performance of Transformers toys writ large as of late? Outside of these HasLab projects? Because I'm wondering if this is like them just also trying to play it safe. Like they want to keep the fans engaged, the collectors engaged, but they can't take the risk.
As far as I'm aware, Transformers is Hasbro's most profitable toy line.
Even above Nerf?
Yeah, I mean, like there's other things, like specifically toy line. I think that I think that like they're like, does Hasbro own Wizards of the Coast? Is that right? Because I think they do Magic cards too, which would be like their most profitable thing. But in terms of like their toy lines, we got like a breakdown of like their sales performance for like the second quarter of or third quarter rather of 2021 recently, and it was like comparing. So there's like a few different things. There's like, well, there's their stuff like card games and things like that. Then there's their original like franchise products, which would be like your Transformers, your G.I. Joe, things that Hasbro actually owns. And then there will be their licensed toy lines, things like Star Wars, right? Like they don't own the license to Star Wars, but they own the toy license. You know what I mean? So it's like, and their regular, like their franchise products, your Transformers, your G.I. Joes, etc., was like, I think it was up by like 9% this quarter, and I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was up from usual. And then their like franchise stuff, like Star Wars or whatever, was a little bit down. So it seems like they're like, in terms of like their usual toy sales, their original things like Transformers are the bigger profit makers, because
that's interesting.
Like not necessarily meaning those are the things that sell the most, but those are the things that sell the most, they don't
make
have
the
to
most
pay
money
for licensing and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was, I mean, that's famously why Lego created Bionicle, because like their licensed stuff was not making them enough money. They needed a story-based thing that could not
it's exactly
all
like
go
that,
to licensing costs. But you're right, Hasbro has owned Wizards of the Coast since 1999.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, like, I had the Wikipedia up and like, oh, by the way, Hasbro owns blah, blah, blah.
Chatter's like cracking his knuckles. Let me get into that magic shit.
And I don't know a lot about that side of it, but in terms of like the toy market, Transformers is a fairly profitable brand. And like part of that, what you can see in the trends too, is like when they decide to mix stuff up, right? Obviously, when stuff is selling well, they tend to repeat themselves a lot and do a lot of similar things until sales start to wane, and then they mix it up and do something different, i.e. the original
Beast
Transformers
Wars
toy line, when it started doing very poorly, that's how we got Beast Wars. you know? It's like very different. Now they all turn into organic animals, and it was a big
Organimal.
hit. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I fucking could go on about that forever. But in terms of like, you know, specifically with Victory Saber, like it feels like they've done weirder, more obscure characters at slightly larger price points before. So I feel like this could have been a retail product in terms of how many units of this existed. And the price that it was. So
yeah, given the relative success of their Transformers line, I'm curious what led them to this price point. Like that, I don't know, that has me more interested in that choice. Granted, I'm getting it all through your POV, but still, it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there have been sort of recent efforts, and you know, this is kind of speculation, but there have sort of been recent efforts by Hasbro to push the envelope a little bit in terms of price to like see what the upper limit of like how much they can sell these things for, you know, what it actually is. Like, you know, releasing certain exclusives that are, you know, that usually would cost around the same price as their retail counterparts or whatever, but like upcharging them like $10 to like really, and like the price of like your average Transformer has increased multiple times in the past few years, whereas like usually it only jumps up every once in a while. So it's like, it does seem like things have been getting generally more expensive. So there's part of me that sort of feels like this might be a bit of an experiment to be like, hey, could we actually just sell a Commander class for fucking $190 instead of $80, and would people buy it? So I'm hoping that that's not the lesson they learned from this, because apparently the answer to that is yes, I guess. Yep. But not if it happens frequently.
Fair enough.
Anyway, so that's
what else you got?
In terms of other Transformers news, at the Hasbro PulseCon on the 22nd, I think, of October, we got the reveal of the next upcoming Transformers toy line, which will be titled Legacy. It's more or less a continuation of the usual thing, except their pitch for it is that it's supposed to be like this sort of multiversal kind of thing where they're drawing inspiration from multiple different, you know, universes of Transformers, which means that we are getting new versions of characters that aren't just based on Generation 1, which is usually what the Generations line is, in addition to also more of that, because that's also still a big seller. So that's kind of exciting. We've seen our first wave of that. They didn't reveal as many things as I would have liked them to, but nothing really extremely notable enough to bring up to y'all. But yeah, that was my Transformers news. And for Minecraft, we had a mob vote this year that, you know, they do this every once in a while. I want to say maybe once a year. I'm not sure. I haven't been keeping up with Minecraft in the long term for that long, so I haven't been paying too much of attention to the trends, but they had Minecraft Live on October 16th, and a few days before that, they revealed the mobs to be voted on at Minecraft Live. The three of them were, we've got the Allay, which is a little ghosty type dude that it's sort of weird how it functions, and I feel like people might have kind of misconstrued what its function actually is. Basically, if you throw down an item, the Allay will pick it up and then bring back duplicates of that item, sort of. And saying that like that makes it sound super broken, right? Like you take a full diamond block, drop it to the Allay, and then it comes back with another diamond block. That'd be broken. That's not what the Allay does. The Allay will only pick up items that exist in the world, and not just exist somewhere. Like if you throw it a grass block, it won't come back with a grass block, even though there's grass blocks all around. It only picks up other like items, like not the thing that exists in the world, but like when you throw down an item, you know what I'm saying?
So like inventory items, not stacks, but
Correct.
individual.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
okay,
like other things that are floating on, that are sitting on the ground as items, basically.
Yeah. So like when you break a tree
is,
and like the saplings drop or an apple drops,
correct,
like those
right.
kinds
You
of
could
things.
throw it a sapling and it'll go pick up the other saplings. Or if your inventory is full and you've been digging in a cave for like 5 minutes and there's like a trail of rocks, if you throw it a rock, it'll go pick up all the rocks. So we haven't really seen the full extent of this, obviously, because it's mostly just in the idea stage right now. But it seems like its main function is going to be like organization, because there's like some function with it too with note blocks where you can like get it to go specific places and have like different LAs, so you could like have them pick up different stuff and basically categorize items for you. It seems like what it's probably for. So that's one of the guys. Then we've got the glare, which it finds dark spots. It's like this little floaty grass creature, and like it seeks out dark spots in the area and then gets really pissed off when it finds a dark spot. So it's like a way of like showing you where the dark spots are in places, like where monsters could spawn, which seems like it could have been a lot more useful before the 1.18 update, which is coming out in like December, because that's changing how mobs generate, so that instead of mobs generating at a light level lower than 7, they will only spawn in absolute darkness. So
wow, that seems
it's
really
a big
generous.
change, but it's not that generous, Colin, because the big 1.18 update that we've known about for a while is the second half of the Caves and Cliffs update, which adds these huge expansive caves, which would just be freaking impossible to light up like on their own. And so but in terms of being outside in the middle of the night in Minecraft, it won't change, because that's total darkness at light level of 0 all the time.
Wait,
right?
really? At nighttime outside in Minecraft under the moonlight is considered absolute darkness? But you can see.
Yeah, I don't think moonlight is an actual. I don't think the moon actually does anything in
I'm
Minecraft.
just saying, in the overworld on top of land, I can see at nighttime without a torch versus underground in a cave where I can't.
But I think technically it's still a light level of 0. In terms of your ability to see, that's probably just because of the sky being able to pick things out. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
As far as I understand it anyway, nighttime outside is a normal light level of 0. But it'll make the caves literally possible to traverse. But that's all stuff that, that we've known about for a little while. That was we had the 1.17 Caves and Cliff update, but it was because it was such a big update, they ended up splitting it into 2. Which I'll get back to. But first, our third mob from the mob vote was the Copper Golem, which is a golem that you can make out of copper. Copper was added in 1.17. And what it does is it's basically like a button-pushing randomizer. Like, it puts it down and it just, runs around and pushes buttons that you've placed, which is really cute, and it has an interesting function to be used in,
that is some chaotic energy.
Yeah. That Copper Golem was the one I voted for. Unfortunately, the one that won was the Allay. So
I was about to say, that seems like the winner to me.
Yeah, the other two probably just won't exist now. Like previous mob votes, they don't really usually bring them back, which is sad, because the Copper Golem seems really fun. If not for technical stuff, it just seems like it, because it also had an oxidizing, normal copper oxidizes in Minecraft, but the Copper Golem would oxidize and basically just really into a little statue, which seems like it would have been a really interesting mechanic. Yeah. I'm rip Copper Golem. I was really upset that the Copper Golem didn't win, but whatever. The LA could be cool too. Also in Minecraft Live, we got the preview basically for what the 1.19 update was going to be, the one that will come out next year, and it is going to be called the Wild Update. And it does two major things, one of which is it's going to finally give us the Deep Dark, which was basically a mechanic that was going to be added in 1.17, and then when they split it into 1.17 and 1.18, it was going to be in 1.18, and now they've decided that goes back to 1.19.
This is starting to sound like a real Hobbit trilogy kind of situation.
Yeah. So the Deep Dark and the Warden mini-boss are being moved back to 1.19, because they had more mechanical stuff that they wanted to, finalize with it, which is fine. I can respect that. But the more exciting thing, which is, I think, just because we haven't heard about it before now, is the new thing, which is a revamp of the swamp biome.
Ooh.
That adds some new fun stuff, including the ability to put chests in boats. That's really big, I think.
Neat.
Really mechanically useful.
That is extremely useful. Holy cow. The amount of times that you and I have tried to move shit over the ocean. Yikes.
Yeah, seriously. We're getting a new type of tree called the Mangrove Tree, which has this awesome root structure that is above ground, and of course a new type of wood. So that's really cool. And it just really elevates what the swamps look like, because now you can ride your boat under these huge root structures, and it's that's pretty cool. And most importantly, a new mob. they're adding frogs to Minecraft, and they're goddamn
fun.
adorable.
Frogs! Frog!
I don't know if they like mechanically do anything useful, or if they're more like rabbits or bats that don't do a ton. But
I mean, can't you get like rabbit legs from rabbits? Or yeah, you can get rabbit
Sure.
meat.
I mean, yeah, it's
hide.
not like they rabbits do have drops or whatever, but they're not like terribly useful. I mean, I guess they are now, because in 1.18 they're adding bundles which you use rabbit hides to craft.
Ooh,
but
like chests that you carry on, like inventory expansion things?
Sort of, yeah. Basically, a bundle. This was something that was, again, supposed to be in 1.17, but they moved it back to 1.18. It's basically like a little item bag that you can carry that can hold, if I remember correctly, it can hold 64 of anything. So, like, it'll hold up to 1 stack of anything, but it doesn't all have to be the same thing, basically. So it's supposed to be like a way of cleaning up your inventory. Like if you're walking around and you have like 3 seeds and like 10 flowers and like half a stack of dirt or whatever, like you can put that all in the same bundle. So it's a nice way to like organize your inventory and be able to carry more on you at one time.
I like it.
But if you were carrying like all stacks of rocks or whatever, like it wouldn't change anything in that, So that's really cool. That one's been announced a while ago. But anyway, that's pretty much the Minecraft news. The frogs, the only thing I think really know about them right now is that they have 3 variations depending on like what biome you breed them in. So like there's the sort of warm biome frogs, which are the ones that will spawn naturally in the swamp. There's the cold biome frogs, which are a bit more white, and there'll be like snowy areas, and then like deserty frogs, which are the tan ones. So they're all pretty cool, but I don't know if there's any mechanical difference between them right now. But that's that's pretty much the stuff I had to talk about. Again, pretty much just 2 things, but a lot of those 2 things.
Yeah, no, pretty dense. Chowder, how can you enrich my understanding of this month?
So, I've been like spending like this whole podcast like trying to untangle what happened in September and what happened in October, and
maybe I'm asking the wrong folks.
But like I guess I want to start with IATSE. So like
a fantastic dice rolling game.
Shut up.
Okay.
So IATSE, which is the what does that fucking stand for again? It's like the Union for the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees. There we go. They on October 4th they held a vote to authorize the first nationwide industry strike, and it got some numbers.
Yeah,
there were 59,478 registered eligible voting members across the 36 local unions. So it was a 89.66% turnout with a 98.68 vote for yes. So
wow.
IATSE's so they're like preparing for a strike, and just as soon as that, and like I remember. And I'm looking at like something Jocelyn posted on our Discord, which is like, hey, there might be some problems with the negotiations because like there might be some crap negotiating going on, but I'm not entirely sure, and I don't know what the sources are. So this part might be cut because I'm not finding sources. So cut that part.
I can say from experience, I have been cursorily involved in some union conversations, and I know Jocelyn has seen a lot more of that stuff up front. So I can vouch for her credibility in understanding these things. So once we have more solid information, like that's reported and sourceable, I will definitely say we should include that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to knock Jocelyn. It's just like I'm not seeing like solid stuff, right? It's pure anecdote right now, but
Yes.
So it's muddy and complicated and frustrating because life is like that.
Life is like trying to get a U-Haul. They lie to you.
Life is like trying to please a person
How,
trying to win the lottery.
How
Just killing it today.
Speaking of IATSE, something else that I remember that happened this month that might have affected this in some way. Should we also talk about fucking Alec Baldwin shooting 2 people?
Oh yeah, no, I was about to get to that. Like,
Okay,
because
good.
the way I had this grouped up, I was like gonna talk about IATSE, then I was gonna talk about the unsafe working conditions in Ruby Rose, and then like as the finale to this like trilogy, I was gonna talk about the Rush shooting, in which
Yeah, wow, Jeff, way to fucking ruin Chowder's dramatic sensibility. Chowder, please continue. Ugh, some people, am I right?
you've ruined
Spoiler
my trilogy.
alert for all the people who haven't heard about that story.
Anyway, so in this article by RogueRocket.com, Ruby Rose details abusive and unsafe work conditions on set of Batwoman series. In it they talk about like how the actor Ruby Rose, who's like after like not leaving the show, and like we finally got answers to that, and the answer is executives fostered a dangerous workplace. Shit includes a video, like she shares a video of a doctor detailing rib injuries, and she claims to have she claims broken neck, rib split in 2, a tumor. She got cut in the face so close to the
A tumor?
eye. Wait, hold on. She claimed that she had enough about these, which also included the exact words are: Rose shared a video of a doctor detailing rib injuries she received on set. She claimed she had enough footage to make an hour-long documentary about these injuries, which allegedly also include a broken neck, a rib split in 2, and a tumor. In a later post,
How did the set of Batwoman give her a tumor?
That's a good question.
Okay.
And a broken neck? It seems like that I'm fucking...
No, not her who got the broken neck.
Okay.
She didn't
Ruby
get
Rose
that.
was breaking everyone else's neck
Jesus
because
Christ,
she's
how did she get
Batwoman.
through it that far?
No. She writes that a woman was left quadriplegic.
Wow.
Yeah. Allegations regarding mishandling the COVID-19 pandemic resulted in the tumor.
Yeah, there hasn't been enough of that going around.
From what I am reading, it is
COVID can give you a
not good. Oh, yeah, no, COVID can do some wild shit.
Huh. Didn't know that particular aspect of it. So is this all... Wait, sorry. Is this all from the production of Batwoman or the same production company that does Batwoman? Like, was this all on the same fucking set, basically? Or was the doctor just sharing experiences, like horror stories that they'd heard? Not that it matters. It's still terrible. I'm just curious.
So, I mean, Ruby, the stories that I've read at least, Ruby Rose was the lead of the Batwoman show, and this was basically her testimonial of how things went on Batwoman and why she left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
So
about Batwoman.
All those claims were related to Batwoman specifically.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. Stunt doubles were like a lot of this was happening to stunt doubles, and woof, what?
Right. Yeah.
And
which is like, I feel like that's probably easy for the company to kind of sweep under the carpet, because they're like, well, they do dangerous work.
Right.
Yeah.
Eventually one of them's going to end up quadriplegic. That's not our fault. That's just the job. But it's like, depends on the conditions and the things you put them through. But
does this lead to some sort of dramatic conclusion to a trilogy of stories that you carefully curated for us?
Shut the fuck up.
Why, yes, Colin, it does. So
wow, what an intuitive viewing experience.
So perhaps the most dramatic incident is the Rush shooting incident. On October 21st, Alec Baldwin accidentally shot cinematographer Hala Hutchins and director Joel Souza. Helena Hutchins. I don't know how to pronounce
I think
that.
It's Helena.
Helena?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Helena.
Yeah.
Halyna is how it's spelled, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's Helena Hutchins.
All right, Helena Hutchins. Helena Hutchins is dead. Joel Souza was very injured. The more information we get about this situation, the more fucking wild this becomes. By all accounts, this sounds like an accident, but it sounds like an accident where everyone was just not practicing the proper safety precautions.
Yeah. Like a million little mistakes were made, and it led to actual death.
Yeah. Now, and from what I am reading of the situation, Alec Baldwin is at least not at fault. I would actually say Alec Baldwin is not at fault for the shooting, simply because he
told he was being handed a safe prop.
He was told he was being handed a safe prop.
A cold gun is the term that they called out on set.
Which it seems like he was under the impression that what he had was a gun that didn't have live rounds in it, but a dummy that was, supposed to not be able to be shot. But, so when he pulled the trigger, it fired and it was like, what the fuck? But that being said, he was one of the producers, and, before the shooting incident, there were many complaints from the crew about unsafe working conditions and poor handling of the firearms. There were two incidents of misfires before this, and a fucking armorer who, by all accounts, does not seem trained and was only the armorer because of fucking nepotism, because her dad was because her dad was the legendary armorer, but she doesn't necessarily have the skills.
She admittedly on I forget what the podcast was, did say that she learned everything just by hands-on experience, not by training. And on another movie with Nicolas Cage, shot a gun next to him and he screamed at her for blowing his ears out.
Yeah.
So solid resume.
Yeah, no.
Just because I've seen it, I have seen a couple articles of people saying that was blown out of proportion, but it's it's hard to kind of
how do you blow out of proportion someone getting killed on a movie set because of failure to follow industry standard practices, which it seems to be the consensus.
Industry practices were not being followed, and it was so bad crew members left because this is too dangerous for us. We're not doing this. And it's just maybe IATSE has a point in asking for better conditions, because right now everything's pointing to this is fucked. Important to note about the shooting incident is that when it comes to guns on set, there's only ever supposed to be two types of bullets. Blanks, which are still dangerous, but they don't have a bullet, so they can't.
Yeah, they have casing, and
it's
they
more
have
so dangerous at close quarters.
Because it has the propellant, it has the gunpowder, but it doesn't actually have a projectile.
And dummies, which have the bullet but don't have gunpowder and are filled with BBs, so that it cannot fire, it cannot kill anyone. For some reason, there were actual bullets in that gun, and it's just I
feel like I saw some report that someone was using the gun for target practice.
Yeah,
am I making that up?
No, I saw something similar and it alleges the armorer, but again, the investigation is ongoing. There have been no charges filed for anyone. I've seen similar rumblings, but at this point, I don't know what's concrete.
Yeah, right now this is ongoing, so it's still being investigated. But, from the information I can find, it seems it just seems like there's a lot of negligence going on. And, the armor is probably in some huge trouble. The producers, which may or may not include Alec Baldwin, may be in trouble, maybe in hot water for, letting such an unsafe situation happen. But we will see. Wait, sorry.
Before we move on from that, if that's what you're about to do, I'm not sure if you know about this yet, because when I Googled Helena Hutchins, and a few stories popped up from literally a few hours ago where apparently Donald Trump has accused Alec Baldwin of purposefully shooting her.
Of fucking course. I mean, have you seen... Did you fucking read the letter that Donald Trump published, quote, honoring Colin Powell?
No. I didn't even hear about that. I haven't been paying too close attention to Trump.
I gotta send it to you guys. It is actually hilarious. It is extremely funny, and I'm afraid of how funny it is because it will give more oxygen to the stuff he's doing. It's fucking comedy gold and so disrespectful. I can't fucking believe it.
Yeah, so...
Jeez.
Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is, on October 5th, they had a presentation for the final DLC character in Smash Ultimate ever, and motherfucker, it's goddamn Sora. I'm sorry, that is like the most hype motherfucking thing ever. God, like
it is pretty exciting, but part of me was like kind of, not excited about that announcement just because I feel like that's also when they said, hey, this is the last one we're doing, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Look, no choice could really be please everyone, but like I think this might have been the choice that could please as many people as possible.
I think Sora's a good fit.
Yeah, it's like man. Like, one, that is just an impressive thing because, as far as anyone can tell, Sora is, in fact, owned by Disney. Disney can't just use him as freely as they want. They still have to, like, negotiate with Square Enix. But, like, still, it means Nintendo had to negotiate that shit with Disney. And that is a fucking impressive thing that they managed to pull that off. Oh, man. And,
It's really funny how like a lot of his things or whatever that like would have references to Disney things, there's just like conspicuous absences. Like in his stage, there's like a mural that exists in Kingdom Hearts, which usually has Goofy and Daffy in it or something.
Or Goofy and Donald, not Daffy Donald.
Goofy and Donald. Sorry. In it that just has like, generic symbols or something now. It's just kind of funny. And it's sort of, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to complain about the fucking Disney characters not being in Smash because Disney has its claws in too many fucking things. But it is sort of weird since, like, half of the whole...
Or like how his final Smash has him, close the door to Kingdom Hearts, but, like, that door has, like, the Smash logo instead. But, it's...
Right, right.
But like, they did still manage to have, like, his Keyblade have, like, the Mickey Mouse keychain on it, which is, like...
The Mickey Mouse keychain. Yeah, it's, well, how much can Disney really fucking trademark 3 circles?
You'd be fucking surprised.
Oh, yeah, no, they got those 3 circles by the balls,
Copyright law in the United States is shaped incredibly by the Walt Disney Company.
Yeah, that's fair.
But, like... Also, that trailer was really good because, like, they really build up the suspense. It's like dark and shadowy, and you see like a single fire. For a second, I thought, oh, is that gonna be Dark Souls? It's not Dark Souls, but yeah, no. Mario like reaches into the fire, throws something, and you're like, what the fuck is that? What the hell is that? You see the Mickey Mouse keychain. And and holy shit, the way that...
Yeah, it sort of felt like it mimicked, like, the one trailer that I had in my head that it felt like the most like was when they announced Inkling, which is when they first announced Smash Ultimate.
Yeah, it ended the way it
Inkling
began.
was the first character announced for it, and it felt like a lot like that, so it's kind of a neat to have those two sort of bookends with this sort of, like, flaming Smash symbol, deep, dark, empty room kind of vibe going on.
Yeah, but with that, the development for Smash Ultimate is over. There might be like quick an update to like for some last minute balancing, but otherwise Smash Ultimate has finished up, and looking back, it is such an ambitious game. I mean, all these different series. I mean, fuck, you can have Minecraft Steve, Sephiroth, Terry Kazuya Kazuya. You can have like King K.
Banjo
Rules in there. Yeah, no.
How many total characters does that make?
I
typed in how many characters are in Smash Ultimate, and it says 74, but that's from November of 2019.
Yeah,
so more than that.
I will say this, as like a casual Smash fan, I've been wanting to see Master Chief in these games for a while, and I figured with Halo Infinite it'd be like fucking primetime business, but
yeah, but like
nope.
they they went like Master Chief would like appeal.
It was the right decision.
Yeah, Master Chief would like appeal only to like the West, but like Sora, it's like, oh, he appeals to everybody, America, Europe, Japan, and everybody. So like it works.
No, it's the right decision. I am just sad because my experience with Kingdom Hearts is 1, everybody talking about it my whole life. 2, it showing up on Game Pass. 3, me trying it on Game Pass for about an hour and saying I don't get it and then stopping. So it didn't work for me.
Yeah,
which is fine because I also don't play Smash that much anymore. But like, I'm happy
Kingdom
for
Hearts,
everyone else.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts
sentiment.
Appeals to like certain kinds of people. You kind of have to be in a certain mindset to like Kingdom Hearts because it can test you on like your on things like patience or like your ability to understand a overly complex plot. But you know, and with that, you know, Smash Ultimate is like as far as we know right now, Sakurai is saying he's like in between jobs and he's just chilling. And we're not sure what he's going to do after this. Is he going to make another Smash Bros? Maybe. Probably not. Is he going to make another game? Is he just going to retire outright? He'd be justified in doing that. He fucking worked hard. Okay, like, if he wants to walk away from all this, I salute you, man. You've done more than you ever needed to. But like, if he decides he wants to make a game, what I hope will happen is Nintendo is just like, okay, here's a blank check. Do whatever the fuck you want. You made us a ton of money.
Yeah.
Like, let
crossed.
Let him make his magnum opus. Let him do what he wants to do.
I haven't played Smash in a while. I should try out Sora.
Yeah.
With that, I am gonna, for the sake of time, I'm gonna pivot us into the rating section.
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. That was the only other thing I wanted to talk about. Like, there are like a bunch of small stuff.
Gotta get your passion out.
Yeah, there are a bunch of small stuff, but like, you know, that they can just be skipped. Amphibia Season 3 is pretty rad so far. It's building up, and I'm excited for when the ball drops, because it's pretty good. And Inside Out's a pretty good show on Netflix. Or not Inside Out, Inside Job.
Yeah, it was like, what?
Inside
Job. It's a pretty good cartoon show.
They made an Inside Out show. They fucking stopped.
Anyways, but...
All right, so here in the rating section, we, as the editors, contributors, authors, story hijackers of the Comic Briefing program, try to review all the stories we just talked about. And if you had to walk away with one hottest headline, the thing that you should care about the most, would be best for conversations at parties. How would I know? I don't like parties. This is going to be it. So we're going to figure that out. We're each going to nominate something and then try to work our way towards a consensus. So, while I think that, like, objectively, Rust is getting the most oxygen, the Rust shooting incident is getting the most oxygen in the conversation because it is, I didn't mean for that to happen. I'm so sorry. The copper golem has oxidized. But while it is shocking and sad and gross in a lot of ways. But like I said, coming in this episode, Chowder and I are coming in hot with some rough energy. And I think the thing that has been eating at my brain the most this month in a very positive way has been the Dune movie. I think that it succeeded in a lot of ways I didn't expect it to. It is winning over converts that thought it would be inscrutable or bad. I think a fucking masterclass of a project. Whether or not you like it as a movie, you have to respect it as an adaptation. So wherever you fall on it, I think Dune is it is weird, it is good, it is interesting, and I want more people to see it. I can't stop thinking about it. But yeah, Dune is my nomination. How about you guys?
So it's hard to say. I mean, I'm excited for Dune. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't think it'll be my nomination. I do really feel like probably the most important thing is the fucking Rusty murder.
Rusty Murder
I guess
is a
Rusty
great name.
Manslaughter is better, but
Those are both great names for movies, but they feel dirty in this context.
In a bit.
I mean, you know, I'm excited about the Transformer thing, but I don't think it's the most important thing. Minecraft, I'm excited for those updates, but like, you know, we get a new update for Minecraft every year. It's not that big.
Yeah.
So here's my thing about.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go with Rust myself. But.
Yeah.
So here's my thing about IATSE, Rust, and Batwoman. They're all still ongoing things right now.
Yeah.
Like, things can go in wildly different directions, and so right now it's more just it amounts to, hey, this thing is happening. And so that's why I'm hesitant to make that the most important thing.
Yeah.
It's all transitory. Is that the word I'm thinking of? Transitory, yes. Or we're going with transitory.
Transitive?
Transitive? Yes. That too.
Maybe? I don't know.
Possibly.
Transient?
Transient? Maybe.
Transient. That's probably the one.
That's probably it.
That sounds the right.
Transparent? I don't know.
Correct.
The Transporter starring Jason Statham?
Transformers? I don't know.
Transformers!
Yes.
We know Transformers!
Transformers, top story. We've gotten it.
Anyways, what I'm saying is there's still more to be found, and so I'm gonna say, to me, the most important thing was Metroid Dread. We got a game that was like a lot that hadn't had a true genuine entry in the series in a while. Like we had a remake, we had Federation Force, whatever the fuck that was.
I didn't even touch Federation Force. I will say that the Metroid 2 remake, which was done by the team that did Metroid Dread, was super solid. It's just playing a very like technically demanding side-scrolling shooter on a 3DS will make your hands fall apart.
Yeah.
So I would love for them to bring it to the Switch.
I mean, that remake, it really just felt like them like, you know, doing some exercise before they like did the serious work of Metroid Dread. But
as someone who did try to play Metroid 2 on the original Game Boy, it made it coherent and comprehensible, so I'll give them that.
Yeah, and, you know, and here we have it, so many years down the line, genuine entry, and it holds its own. It's so good. It feels good to play, it's well-designed, it's just good. It's solid, and
I can join you on the Metroid Dread nomination, honestly. I think that was before my schedule cramped up and U-Haul betrayed me. Metroid Dread was pretty big on my mind. I just haven't played it since the move, but I plan to. And I do hope we get our real conversation about it together. So I'll join you on Metroid Dread's release.
So yeah, you know, to put my hand down on what's the most important, I would say Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, but I didn't talk about that, so I'm going with Metroid.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's relevant. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, if we want to so top story, just because 2-1 Metroid Dread is the winner of the vote, but we will continue to discuss the IATSE stuff and the Rust stuff as we get more information on it, because it's still very fresh.
To put a small counter argument, though they're both it's all developing situation.
The Rust thing did happen.
There was one event that made the Rust thing very relevant.
Yes.
People were shot.
Yeah, that's big. Well, anyway, I don't know if this will be post-credits. Also Halo did a campaign reveal, and everybody is like creaming their pants for Halo. Like, if you look at search trends, nobody's looking at Call of Duty, which most people found out comes out today as we're recording it.
Wait,
people
Call of Duty
comes
out today? Huh?
Yeah, nobody even fucking knew. It's just like nobody's even searching for those things. So Halo is... I think Halo's almost back, baby, and I'm excited about that. But anyway, you were going to say something about, we were talking off mic beforehand, that Venom 2 attempts to insert itself into the Marvel Cinematic Universe canon.
Yeah.
So this is big spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it, because I can
explain that. Okay, so, you know, Venom 2, like, the movie goes on as normal. It's like its own standalone thing. Venom fights Carnage. There's a lot of homoerotic tension between Tom Hardy and the symbiote.
Love it.
I quite enjoy it. It's like doubles down on that romantic comedy angle, which I like. But like, I guess the thing that's going to be important to like people outside the niche of people who like the Venom movies is the mid-credits sequence in which Eddie Brock is just chilling in a hotel room with the symbiote, watching a Spanish soap opera and or telenovela, and like suddenly they're transported, and they're like, whoa, what the fuck happened? They look to a TV, and we see like J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, and we're doing a news report, and then they show Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And, they pretty much established that, Venom is now connected.
I fucking called it. This is the maneuvering that they're doing, because they're only using the stuff they have the rights for to try to insert themselves in there. I bet you were not going to see a single Marvel-owned property show up in this Sony universe, and that Spider-Man Far From Home is going to be Tom Holland's exit from the MCU as they try to hijack this brand. Because even in the Morbius trailer, which is part of this Sony universe of Marvel characters, they show fucking Morbius walking by a painting of Spider-Man on the wall, and Michael Keaton's character from Spider-Man Far From Home is in it. So I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're trying to fucking cut themselves a slice of that pie.
They're going to pull some multiversal bullshit shenanigans.
And legally, I don't think Disney can do anything about it under the current agreement.
Which is a weird thing to say.
Very strange.
Yeah.
On the one hand, I do like the idea of another company tying Disney's hands, but in terms of the quality of products, I don't really want the Sony things to be getting.
Yeah.
Listen. So long as we get those, as long as the Spider-Verse movies stay on, stay good, and like Spider-Verse was fucking amazing.
Spider-Verse was an absolutely incredible
whatever
movie.
Garbage
so
Sony has shat out, it was all worth it for Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And also,
I
actually genuinely love the Venom movies, unironically. They're bad, they're stupid, and I love them.
Yeah. I mean, well, we'll fucking see, because Eternals has released today, so we can talk about that soon, but Spider-Man comes out next month, and I'm sure we'll see if I'm fucking right. I have a couple episodes I called it. We'll see what happens. But anyway, that's about it. I'm wrapping it up.
The time where Jeffrey is going to have to start distancing himself from caring about the quality of MCU things going forward and continuity keeping together.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm not that interested in Eternals. I'm probably not going to watch it.
Oh, Eternals is the one I was most interested in because of Chloe Zhao. I just saw it today. I loved it. I loved it a lot. I really like it.
Hey man, Chowder. Come on. Kumail Nanjiani's in it.
He's very
anything he's in.
Very
except
good.
for, I guess, that fucking Men in Black movie that he voices someone in, I think.
Anyway, that about wraps it up. I think we'll talk about Eternals at some point in the future. I actually want to, because it seems to be fairly divisive. But for now, we're just going to play some Metroid Dread. And we'll be back in a couple weeks, hopefully talking about Metroid Dread. My name is Colin. And I'm gonna eat some candy in a minute. I'm pretty tired.
So I guess
cool. Is that your fucking?
Yep.
All right.
I'm fucking outie.
I've been Jeff. If you want to find me, I've got a YouTube toy review channel called Alchemist Prime Reviews, and that's me.
I'm Taimul Chaudhary or Chowder, whichever you prefer. You can find me on Twitter at Taimul Chowder. I'm also part of our sister podcast, Dice Populi. We got some wild shit going on with like Dicey Waters, and we're actually about to record an Entrenched episode soon. Hopefully, who knows?
Hey, Chowder. This can be edited out if you want, but I need to know for myself. That most recent episode of Dice Populi that came out with the guy that shot them in the very beginning, is that the same fucking sniper build from our one shot that we ran, Chowder?
Yeah, no, I've told you that I used.
That's what I thought. I was like, this seems vaguely familiar.
Yeah. I had that feeling in a Dice Populi when Pat aped features from a Destiny raid that we play all the time. I'm like, you bastard.
I mean, I told you that long after the fact, I told you that I used you guys as guinea pigs for stuff.
Yeah, I guess I'd kind of forgotten about it. But it was like, I was listening to it, I was just like, I think I know what's about to happen. And I was very pleased when they fucking pulled the same kind of bullshit that I pulled.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you all for listening. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Have a nice one.
Ciao.
Bye.
Dirt. Also because like I just saw the new trailer for Morbius in the theaters, and like yeah, I get a sense that they really are trying to push these connections. Like I knew about Michael Keaton in that movie, but like it really like
Michael Keaton shows up in that movie. Fucking Christ,
he's in the fucking
man.
trailer. Yeah, anyway. Let's go ahead and clap
I
because
didn't
it's
watch
been
the
going.
trailer because I don't give a shit about fucking solo movies for Spider-Man villains.
I was just sat in front of a giant movie theater screen for Eternals, and they were like, "Here, swallow Morbius," and I said, "Okay, Daddy."
Oh, Lord. Anyway,
There's your
guys wanna
post
clap?
credits.
Oh no, Morbius is like the last one you want to swallow.
Let's go at 12:10.
Oh.